Hey girl, hey! This is the Inspire Her podcast. This space was created for women over 40 to come and vent, relax, breathe, and just be. We empower you to take action in your everyday life in order to help you rediscover your purpose, find your power, and reignite your passion so that you can live your best life now. I'm your host, Veronica Rivers, and welcome to the Inspire Her podcast. Hey girl, hey, and welcome to another episode of the Inspire Her podcast. Today's show is one for the books. This is my very first interview, and I am super excited about my guest. I will be speaking with a young lady who survived domestic violence, and now through her organization, Help Me, Help You, she is now helping other women in domestic violence situations to leave and never return. If you know of anyone who needs to hear this, please share this podcast. Get your kids, get your loved ones, and gather around for an intense conversation about surviving domestic violence. You're going to hear her story. You're going to hear a little of my story. Now, this is a warning that this may be triggering. So, discretion is advised. I hope you enjoy. Please disregard. It's a little distorted because we did it on Zoom, but you can hear her clearly. My side is a little distorted, so please forgive me for that, but I still hope you enjoy. Thanks. Hey girl, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Thank you so much for coming on my show. I really appreciate it. Okay, this is Shamanica Slaughter. She is the proud founder of the nonprofit organization Help Me, Help You. It's an organization where the main goal is to help women receive counseling and guidance. They also help to prepare women to move forward by teaching them how to love themselves and give them tools needed to never go back to abuse. All right. Thank you, Miss Shamanica, for coming on my show. I'm so happy to have you here.
Thank you. I'm so honored to be here.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about yourself and your organization.
Well, hi, everybody. My name is Shamanica Slaughter, but you can call me Mona. Everyone calls me Mona, and that's fine. I am a mother of 3 beautiful children. Okay. I have my master's degree in criminal justice. Okay. Which I should have went back to school for it, but I'm glad I'm glad I did. But it did help me in the field that I'm in. And awesome. And I am 11. It'll be 11 years this year. 11-year survivor of domestic violence. Wow. And I did not want to do this journey because I just kind of felt like, all right, it happened to me. I'm done with it. But it kept coming to me about share your story, share your journey. And I'm a woman of faith, a woman of God. And I was like, okay, God, is this something that you want me to do? Or is this just something that, it happened to me? And I had got a prophecy spoken to me in like 2019. And at the time, I wasn't thinking about doing it. And everything that she prophesied is what I'm doing now. She prophesies the nonprofit. She prophesies me speaking, doing engagements, writing a book, because I am currently writing the book. Awesome. And I was like, me? And she was like, yes, God showed me you doing all this. And so that's pretty much how it birthed. She even gave me the name for it and everything. So right now, it's just the focus of my nonprofit, Help Me, Help You. It is because therapy and counseling helped me. It helped me get through everything because in my mindset, if a woman can get healed from her past and the trauma and the things that she went through, then you can clearly identify the signs of someone that's abusive or something. If you're healthy and you're whole within yourself, and you will know the signs. No, I gotta get out of this, or no, this isn't working for me, or you will not go back to your abuser. So that's my main focus. And God has connected me with a lot of wonderful people. So it's not only just the counseling, but I also know I can send you where if you're trying to find housing, if you're trying to find you a job, and everything. But the main goal is, all that can come, but you can get a house and you can get a job. But if your mind is not renewed and fixed and you're not here, you'll just welcome the same thing back in your life. So the main goal is when you come through my nonprofit, that you have to do the counseling. You have to get that done. And I know some great organizations here, that have like, sliding scale fees, Christian counseling, pastors, all things like that, hey, I could, help you go to and everything. And a lot of times, a lot of women want it kept quiet there. They want it kept silent. Right. So, I be trying to encourage them and tell them, you can share your story. You have a story, you could help someone. But, everyone has to be ready. They're not, a lot of people are not in that position to be ready yet. They're ashamed of it. So that's pretty much how I was birthed. And I don't have a physical building right now. I pretty much just do everything like from a phone, from a laptop, but hey, I still can help. Everything.
Okay, so how long has the organization been established?
Since about 2019.
Okay, so how many women do you think you've helped so far?
The ones who really truly wanted to do something and really, because I've had plenty of women to, come say this is what they want. And once they see that healing is for real, like healing is not all just, no, it's like healing hurts because you have to identify a lot of things about yourself that you may not be ready to fix. So, it really has not been that many women, but I am grateful to say I'm maybe about at 10 now, maybe about 10 or 11. And I thank awesome. I thank God for those 10, 11 women because they was really serious about, changing their life and changing their mindset. And, all the other people that came through, I never judged because I've been in their situation where I've had that mindset where you was in and out, didn't know where to go. So I always say, hey, I'm here. When you're ready, I'm here.
So what do you look forward to this organization accomplishing in the future?
I about a year ago, I heard a saying where this man was like, don't start a nonprofit. And I was curious and I clicked on it. I wanted to see what he was talking about. And he was like, everyone wants to start a nonprofit, but he was like, the main goal of a nonprofit, it should be to end whatever you're trying to do.
Right.
And so my mission is I want to end domestic violence. I want to have enough healthy, even though I know physically you can't control what someone else do and everything like that. But that's my main goal. I want to help end it, put some form of stop to it, something, even laws, having stricter laws in place because the laws against domestic violence, it's not good. I've been there before. Like, it's just really it's like after they have killed you or after they've done something serious where it's like, oh, maybe we should have listened to her. Like, what about all the time she was calling you saying this and saying that? So that's my goal.
Yeah, we have something similar in South Carolina where the laws are just like, they have to actually do you harm in some way, shape, form, or fashion. And I'm like, but he could kill me right then and there.
Yeah. And it's not important to them. Unfortunately, I had a restraining order against my ex-husband, and he was still able to come around me. They was like, but as long as he ain't did nothing to you, that was their thing. And I was like, are you serious? And so it was a lot.
Yeah, I've heard of stories where people have tried to leave, and when their abuser has try to contact them or try to hurt them, and they wind up like either shooting him or killing him, that the victim now has to go to jail or have to serve some kind of time
for trying to protect themselves.
Right. So in a criminal, since you do have a master's in criminal, how does that work? Like, how can someone protect themselves without going to jail? Like, I'm just trying to protect me and my child. Now that I have done that, now you want to send me to jail.
Well, I would say have a paper trail. And see, that was my situation with the man that I was with. He's the father of my oldest daughter. I did not have a paper trail on him. I was so afraid of him and terrified. When everything finally came out, no one believed me because they was like, you never called the police, you never did anything at all, because I was really truly afraid of him. So that would be my main thing. And even though sometimes that doesn't work, but hey, the proof is right there. Look how many times she's called in. Look how many times this happened. It will, and you can't ignore what's on paper. You can, the law cannot ignore that. And I would just say have that. So in case of that, you do have to shoot him, or you do have to do something to protect you. Hey, I've been telling you guys about him for this long and that long, and I really truly think that would hold up in court, and that it would really help versus never saying nothing at all. No one know what's going on, and then you shoot him.
But how will someone know, like, when enough is enough?
You just have to know within yourself, because like I said before, I was there. I spent 4 years, in the most violent relationship I've ever been in my life. But my abuse goes back further, from my childhood to every man I had been with leading up to this man. It was some form of abuse, because it was all I'd ever known. And you just get to that place in your mind where you're done and you're tired. And I had got there, and I got there for my kids. So at the time, my son was like 4 or 5, and the daughter I shared with him, she was like in the months. She was like a baby. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, what am I doing, with my life? How long am I going to continue to go to a different man, but it's the same man, and I'm getting the same treatment and everything? So you have to be ready, because everybody around me, they was talking to me till I was blue in the face, but I wasn't going to leave him until I was ready.
I've witnessed a lot of, I'm not gonna say a lot, but I witnessed enough from my aunts, and my mom was even, and well, she's still married to him, but they used to fight all the time. But the difference between my aunt and my mom was that my mom fought.
She fought back.
I mean, she tussled. She tussled when it was time to tussle. Yeah. But I've seen my aunts get shot at. Wow. I've seen like beaten to the face till their face looked like beast. Mm-hmm. I mean, and I always say that I would never be in that situation. Yeah. And wound up in the same situation. Yeah. But luckily I'll say for me, he hit me once, and that was enough. I mean, he hit me hard enough where my face was swollen that I didn't see my mom for 2 weeks. But when he hit me, he left. So I didn't see him, and he left in my car. So yeah, that was years ago. And I didn't see my mom for like 2 weeks because I didn't want her to know.
To see your face, yeah.
I didn't want her to see my face, so I waited until my face swole. And then maybe a couple of years ago, I was in a verbal, which is even worse.
It is. A lot of people look at it like, well, he isn't putting his hands on me, but yet it's still he's beating you down. He's tearing your soul apart, because the physical scars will go away, but the mental abuse and verbal abuse, that's long lasting.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
I carried a lot of that even after I left him and everything. The physical scars had gone, but it was still just the impact of the verbal and the mental and sexual abuse that he did to me.
Oh, well, God bless you. And thank you for surviving. I mean, oh my God. So we know that, how do you get these women to basically open up to you and tell you their story? Because I know for me, even when I was in the verbal one, I kept that hush hush because I thought, I'm gonna say thought. I thought I loved him, and I didn't want anybody else, because I know once the family gets mad, they're gonna be mad forever. We all two get back together. Yeah. So how do you get these women to kind of open up to you and tell you their story?
Well, they reach out to me in a sense, and it always just start with, I don't never tell them, well, in order for me to talk to you, you have to do my program and this and that. No, it always, let's talk. Because a lot of times it feels good to get that out. I build up a trust, a rapport with them. I share my journey, with them and all that I went through, and just give them that time. Because a lot of times they're not looking for help right now. They could just be looking for someone to talk to, someone to vent, someone who understands what it is, that they're going through. Because a lot of people judge, girl, if he'd have hit me, I'd have been gone. I got that so many times instead of just listening to me and what I'm going through. I'm trying to figure this out and trying to work this out. So that's pretty much how I do it with them. I just build up that rapport, build up that trust, and when they're ready, they'll come through. And like I say, sometimes they don't.
So the ones who don't stay, do you still keep track with them? Do you know what happens with them?
Yeah, I do. A lot of them still, reach out to me and everything. Just like, I guess they figured like maybe I wasn't going to want to talk to them because they didn't want to come through. But I always let them know, you don't have to, come through this program. You don't have to. If you just need someone to talk to, I'm spiritually grounded enough to allow you to dump all that in me, because I know how to take it to God and get it out of me.
Right.
And everything. So, no, I have never cut anyone off. Now, it has been some that I've never heard from again. You know what I'm saying? And I just pray that they're covered, that they're not, they don't turn up dead or anything like that. But the majority of them, I still talk to some of them. Yeah, they still.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I would never do that, because I've had people turn their back on me. You're just not going to leave him, so I'm done. And that's like the worst thing that you can do, and especially a woman going through that.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people that do that. Once if you don't leave that abuse, then they just was like they just cut everything off. Sadly, some of them regret doing that because sometimes it becomes tragic. But yeah. So right now, what are you doing now? Like, what is your
pandemic happened?
Okay.
Things were picking up, in the sense of me really truly getting out there. And then when 2020 came and the pandemic came, a lot of the stuff was virtual, in the sense through Zoom and all that. So you couldn't really actually go physically speak anywhere. Right. And then when 2021, right at the end of 2020, God said to me, I don't want you to do any shows in 2021. I don't want you to I have a podcast as well. I don't want you to do anything. And I just want you to rest. And I was like, you sure, God? Because I was like, oh, really? It's picking up. It's picking up. This is what you told me. He was like, you need to heal. You truly need to heal. Because I had begun to find myself after every time I would do a show, I wouldn't recenter. I wouldn't reground myself. I had poured out, but I wasn't getting poured back into. And it felt like it was opening wounds. A lot of stuff that I had, maybe that forgot about in a sense. And God was like, I need you to heal. Because where you're going and where I'm going to take you, you're going to truly have to be ready for, the women and, men, because a lot of people don't realize men get abused too.
Men, yep.
So, I don't only just deal with, unfortunately, I haven't helped the man in a sense, anything, but I would love to one day, because it is some abusive women out there. It truly is. But I just took the whole 2021 out. And I just did exactly what God told me to do. And I realized that, because my son had started having health issues, and I began to realize he needed me. Or, versus I could have been out somewhere on a show and, not being here. So I was able to be mom, and I was able to work on myself, allow God to work on me. And I was like, all right, Lord, it's 2022. Are we opening back up? And so, like, here I am now.
And just because you said that, I just thought about something that God he is so amazing. Yes, I literally just had a conversation with a friend who is, he's just kind of recentering everything and getting back to his first love, which is the word, which is speaking the word of God, because I used to always tell him when he drops knowledge, he drops it. And I'm like, you should put this on like TikTok or something. You always dropping something. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna do it. And God has been dealing with him, and things are getting so much better. And I had to sit down the other night and was like, I don't know what to do concerning my podcast and what is it that he wants me to do. So when I tell you, he has been like dropping stuff in me, and all I can say is God is amazing. He is
He truly
absolutely
is.
amazing.
He truly is. I fought the rest. I fought it. I was like, because I always was just busy. I was always doing something. But you know, the Lord was like, "Are you busy? But are you productive? You know,
Right.
you just what are you doing?" Because every day I feel like I had to do something, and to be able to just rest and be like, I don't got nothing to do. I don't have anything to do. But over that time, I got a deeper and better relationship with my children. And of course, you know, my son, he was hospitalized many a times, and he ended up having to have surgery. And it felt nice I could be there as a mom, a single mother, to be there for him while he was going through this. And you know, also with my daughters, and trying to keep things well adjusted with them, so you know, it's just not like all about him in a sense and all that. So I look back now and I thank God that he had me to sit down for that
So
year.
how old are your children?
17, 12, and 7.
Oh, okay. So were they ever a witness to the abuse that you were going through?
My son was, when I was with because my daughter, when I left him, she was like 9 months, 10 months. So she was still just a baby. But my son did. He saw some things. And of course I put my children in therapy and everything. You know, I put them in there because it's maybe some things you can't talk to me about. You know, I'm an advocate for therapy now, completely an advocate for it. When at first I was one of those people, Black people don't go to therapy. That was my thing right there. But I truly have changed my mind about that. But I did. And you know, the year that I left him, it was during the summer. I sent my son to go live with my sister for that summer because I was making my escape plan, my getaway. I knew he would be safe down there, and you know, just for me to get away, because he wouldn't leave my home, so I was gonna leave. And so that was my whole plan. Unfortunately, he almost took my life. I almost lost my life that night. That, you know, I did go away. That I did end up getting away from him. And so,
yeah, I was just about to ask, like, how did you get away safely? Because that seems to be everybody's kind of, they want to know how to get away safely, because once you say you're going to leave, or you're trying to leave, or they think you're going to leave, then they try to do things to hurt you. So how did you get out safely?
Well,
I know you said you almost died, but how did you get out safely?
Well, about 3-4 months before the night happened that he almost killed me, I had started going to the Penelope House shelter that we have here. Now, as fun as it was growing up, my mom always took us to the Penelope House because my dad abused her. He beat her. So I was familiar with them. And I started going there. I started seeing a lady and just getting help. You know, just like, I don't know what to do. He won't leave my house. And where I lived at the time, if he would have went up to the rent office and told them, well, I've been living with her, they would have evicted me and my children, and he would hold it over my head and say, well, I can go back to my mother's house. You and your children are going to be on the street. You know, that I didn't have anywhere to go. So I just started making a plan. I was the only one working. He wasn't working. He was staying at home watching my children while I went to work. So I made the money. So I started putting money into another account. Like I said, I sent my son away. I had stopped sleeping with him. I mean, I detached myself from the situation. So, you know, I was sleeping downstairs on the couch in my house. I didn't want to be in the same bed or room with him, and just making my plan to get away. I sent my son away, and it was just me and my daughter that was here. And the night in question that I left, you know, I'll never forget that night and everything. Thank God for healing and growth and everything. But that night right there, I remember clear as day. I'll never forget him. I was downstairs sleeping. He was upstairs, and he just woke up like in a rage, and he just began to accuse me of, you're cheating on me, and what's going on? You won't sleep me, you want this and that. And I was just like, I have to go to work in the morning. You know, I'm trying to just sleep. And he grabbed me off the couch, dragged me off the couch by my hair. He was dragging me around my house. He was punching me and hitting me and everything. And I was bleeding from my mouth. And I panicked. I grabbed my daughter and I ran out the house. I ran and I fell when I got outside. And when I fell, my daughter fell out my arms, but she didn't hurt herself. She just fell out my arms. And so he came out the house and he was like, you threw my daughter on the ground. And he took his fist and he had my keys in between and he hit me in my head. Like, I still have the physical scar right here to this day. He hit me and I just felt blood. I just felt blood running down my face, and I panicked and I ran. I ran. And see, he played football. He was very athletic. So he ran behind me. He ran behind me and he like tripped, he caught me, tripped me up. I hit my head in the field and he left me laying right there bleeding from my head in the field. Head bust wide open, just bleeding. And while I was unconscious, I saw my funeral. I saw myself in the casket. I saw my daughter and my son sitting on the front row. And I just heard God clearly say, if you do not leave, this is what's going to happen. Now, me and him had broke up plenty of times before because he would always run back to the other mother of his child. He would go back and forth between us. And I would always let him come back. But when I saw that, I was like, okay, God. And I'm going to tell you something. When I woke up, I was in my house. I was in my bed. And to this day, you know, I don't have a relationship with him or talk to him, but you know, when he would always say, I never came back and got you. I went and got our daughter and I left. I do not know how I got back to my house. I know it was nobody but the grace of God, because I woke up in my bed. And when I woke up, it was just like all the fear, it was gone. And of course, he was there. And it was all like, I'm sorry for what happened. And I was like, no, I called his mother. And I said, you need to come get your son because I'm done. And of course, she didn't want him to come back there. So she was trying, because she was a huge person in the middle of, like, when he would knock me unconscious or knock me out, she would come down there and clean everything up for him. Or she would take him out somewhere and hide him. Please don't call the police on him, you know, because I think she was terrified of him too. And I was like, you have to come get him, because if you don't, then you're gonna be picking out a black dress, because he will lose his life today. It was just like no fear was there anymore. And of course she came and got him. And that's when he tried to turn a little violent, like, no one's ever gonna want you, and I'll to finish you off and this and that. But thank God he didn't do anything. So when she came and got him, I closed my door and I locked it. I sat behind for about 3 hours and I just cried. And I told God, if you help me through this, I would never go back. I would never look back at all, period. And when I got up off that floor, I never did. I never went back, never gave him another chance. And of course, you know, he tried to come back, but eventually I didn't have to deal with the stalking. I didn't have to deal with that, because by 2 weeks later, he was already with another woman living in her house with someone he probably had already been dealing with and everything. But I was really able to not have that looming over me when I went forth in my journey of you know, healing. And because he had really just beat me down to, I didn't even know who I was anymore. When I would look in the mirror, it was just that bad. And I had to rediscover and find myself all over again. And so, you know, unfortunately, every woman that he's been with after me, the abuse have gotten worse and worse that he's done to them, and he still feel like he doesn't have a problem, or you know, his mom still covers for him and everything. And so, you know, I wash my hands of it. You know, I've had some of them to reach out to me, but you know, at first I was the liar. He didn't do that to you. He's not like that. And then when it happens to them, it was like, oh, wait a minute, she wasn't lying. So,
have you completely forgiven him?
Yes, I had. It was a dark time. And that's why I always tell people, you sure you ready to go through healing? Because when you truly ask God to show you yourself and show you who you are, that's exactly what he's going to do. And I wanted to put all the blame on him. It was him, but Lord, he hit me. But at the end of the day, I could have left the first time he hit me. With the very first time, but I wasn't strong enough in my mind. I was a broken woman just looking for love. And it's like my father was abusive, and every man I was with, like I was chasing my father. I was trying to find my father and all these men. And when I went through all that healing, it was a dark time. And I wouldn't lie to anybody, but it was the best time of my life, because I found out who I was. I found out who I am, and now I stop that generational curse of that in my family, because it would not happen to my daughters, and then my son would not be that type of man. It ended with me. I speak that every day. It ended with me. They will not be baby mamas and baby daddies out here with all these children running around. They're gonna be respectable young men and women. And so I had to forgive him. And a lot of people's like, how can you forgive someone who did that to you? And I was like, well, I don't want to walk around with all that weight on me. I'm living. I'm trying to live. And so to forgive him, and also for my daughter, because I never say his name whenever I do a show, because she has a relationship with him. And like I always tell her, your relationship with your dad, that's you. One day when you want to know the truth and you want to know what happened, I'll be happy to share with you, but I will never taint her image of him in a sense. So a lot of forgiveness had to do with her, because I didn't want to be walking around. Then she looked just like him. When I say just like him, I'm talking about it's scary sometimes. I'm gonna have to send you a picture when you get off here, and you probably gonna call me and be like, "What? Did you have her or did she have him?" Because I'm talking about just identical. I'll be like, Lord, can she just look like me in some ways? But she's a sweetheart. She's my sweetest child, and I was like, wow, for her to come from him, right? And everything, but she's my sweetest child. But yes, a lot of
that was my next question. Like, does he have a relationship with the kids? Does he still have one?
Well, we only have one child together.
Okay.
Together he has 6, but they're not by me. And everything. But it took some time, because he was very upset when I started doing this. And so he took a lot of that, not physically out on her, but he wouldn't come around her, or he wouldn't call her and things like that. And so, I just had to say, well, you're older now. You'll be 13 this year. You have to let your dad know how you feel about things. You don't have to have someone in your life. You can, but now I can say they're better. He still doesn't like what I do, because a lot of people know who I'm talking about, whenever I share my story, because they knew our relationship and everything. But like I told him, I'm not doing this to hurt you or to demean you. This is my ministry, and I have to be obedient to what God tells me to do. You may not like, but hey, you did. So that's how I pretty much look at it. We don't talk. We do not have any formal relationship. She talks to her dad, and that's it.
So. Okay. Did he ever serve time for what he did to you?
No, I never called the police on him. Now my neighbors and the in last year, I had went through like a small bout of depression, because my neighbors at the time, when me and him was living together, they would call the police, because they would hear us fighting. They would hear him fighting me. And every time the police would come, I would lie, and I would say, and nothing happened, nothing going on. And the same young lady, she ended up losing her life to domestic violence. Her husband, he shot her 10 times, and he shot their baby in the head. The baby didn't die, but she ended up passing away. She died, and then 3 days later, they found him. He killed himself, and so she left here 6 children. She left 6 children behind, and by the grace of God, the baby didn't die, even though she got shot in the head. But she did. And when I went to her funeral, I had realized that I had never told her and her mom thank you for the times I knew that they was calling the police. I knew they were trying to get him out of there. And so when I went to go view her body, I saw her mom, and we just cried, and I just told her thank you. I said, because I know plenty of times he could have killed me if the police had knocked on the door, if it could have got worse, and you was just trying to help, but in the end you couldn't end up helping your own daughter, because she ended up dying, getting killed.
Wow.
It's a vicious cycle, and it's sad.
So what would you tell women now who are in that situation? What would you want them to know right now?
Well, it just really depends on whether mine is, because I can't speak for every woman, but I know I went through different phases in my mind, where some days I didn't want him, some days I couldn't live without him, some days this and that, and it just really just depends on where the woman mindset is. You, like I say, you will know when you're ready to go. You know what I'm saying? I was willing to leave everything behind, because at the end of the day, he couldn't stay there without me, because he wasn't working. Right. And, it may not be the case. You may have like, he's the breadwinner and you don't have anywhere to go. And even with that, it's just really truly that person's mindset of what I would try to say to them. I would just listen. You know what I'm saying? I'm not here to judge you. I'm not here to try to just throw my story on you and throw my journey. I'm really just here to listen. And if you're really ready to go and if you're really ready to change, then let's do it. You know, it's no excuses. No, when you're ready to go, you leave everything behind. You'll get up out of there because your life is what's going to be the most important. Because I've learned you can start over. I promise you can. You know what I'm saying? I've been the victim of sexual abuse, of domestic violence. I'm a single mom. I've been, divorced, battled with depression, a huge low period in my life. I've tried to commit suicide 3 times and everything. It was meant for me to be here. I know you can start over. You can. You just have to be ready.
How do you start over?
Ooh.
When you are
know
ready.
I love about what I love about that is that you're the author. You get to decide how it goes. You get to decide what you want to do now. Even if you just got a blank slate in front of you, let's just start from that blank slate because we're not looking back. Because for a long time, I was in a place where I couldn't go back to him, but I didn't know how to go forward. I didn't know how to get out of that. And I know a lot of women are caught like that as well. And that's where the therapy came in for me because I was like, well, I feel like I'm stuck. I don't know what to do. You know, I didn't want to get involved with no one else because I don't believe in drama and baggage and doing that. And so I had to focus on myself. I completely, no dating, no men, no nothing at all, period. I had to heal Shamanka because I knew my children were looking at me. I was looking at me and I was like, now what am I going to do with my life? And I just sat down one day with this blank slate and I said, you know what? I'm the author. Let me figure out what I'm going to do. And plus I had a great church home at the time that I was up in. So, God is the center of this all, of me just starting over completely. He's the center. I would not be here if it was not for his grace.
That's right. And the reason why I asked that question is because I know I've seen a lot of people who they've left, but they do not know how to start over. So what they wind up doing is going right back.
Yeah. Or find a different guy, but it's the same guy.
Same situation.
Same situation.
Right. So I'm just trying to figure out.
I wouldn't sit here. I'm not perfect because after him, I ended up getting into another. Now, it wasn't a physical abusive relationship. It was a mental one. It's a verbal. We produced a child together and everything. And it was, I still had all my tools and everything. But this right here, the devil was like, oh, you thought I was going to let you get away? I'm going to send you everything that you say you've been looking for. I'm going to send them right on to you. And this, this guy right here, like we have a daughter together and everything. When I say he was my father, he was my father. He even looked like my father, which was the scary part. I was like, all right, devil, you trying to get me out of here for real. Because he knew my walk and the ministry that I had to go through. And I was just like, no. So once that relationship ended, because he was a narcissist, a clear-cut narcissist, I was just like, okay, God, it's something that's still broken within me in a sense that's attracting these kind of men. So I have got to be completely single. I've got to be completely rededicated to you, focusing on myself, rebuilding myself back up. And when you put that mindset to yourself and not like, oh, where I'm gonna find a man or where I'm gonna lay up with a man, but I'm working on me. It may not just be eating right and losing weight or anything. Whatever you need to do to work on you and to heal, that's where my mindset had to go because I was always a woman that was running behind men. I got to have a man. I got to have a man. I got to have a man when I didn't want to be alone. And now I'm healed, thank God, and I'm whole, and I'm fine with being alone. I've come to a place of contentment in my life where if I get married, that would be wonderful. That would be great. We'll have a great ministry together as our marriage. But if I don't, I'm still going to do what God called me to do. And that's where I really try to help the women to, what's your purpose? It may not be to go out and share your story and share your journey, but what is your purpose? Who are you? And so let's go through the therapy. Let's get the help you need. And I promise you, the apartment will come when you can start over, and the job will come and all that. But what's good of having all that if you're going to let the same thing come back in your life and destroy it all again? And that was my thing. I thought that I was above all that. Mm-hmm. And then the enemy ended up sending me someone that just brought me right. So you know, you're not me knocking off this pedestal for a minute. But you got to get serious about what I'm trying to do. So I learned my lesson. I learned my lesson big time. Big time. So
this has definitely been an eye-opener. This has definitely been awesome. Thank you again so much.
No, it's no problem. And you know, domestic violence month is in October. You know, and I would love to come back on again in October and just maybe. And, you know, in a sense, maybe kind of go into more detail of other, you know, the relationships I had that were abusive, signs that, you know, just different signs for the people out there who could be listening and everything like that. And so, I mean, I would love to come back on, you know, when the month.
Definitely. I will have you down for October. Yeah. So for people who would like to partner with you or want to reach out, I know you're in Alabama, but if there's someone, just say, since you're virtual, just say they're in South Carolina or North Carolina, how would they be able to reach you and your organization?
Okay, well, they can, I'm on basically every social media platform that we have out here and everything. I'm getting everything uploaded together now, you know, for us, like we're trying to get a website together and the email address, but right now it's just like I'm working from my home and everything. But you can contact me on social media. I'm on Facebook as Mona Carletta. You know, that's my name. I'm on Instagram. Now, a lot of people have reached out to me through my podcast page that I have, which is My Journey Within Podcast. You can reach out to me on there. Okay. And then my email, which is Mona and Slaughter at yahoo.com. Reach out. That stays open 24/7. And just please feel free to reach out. And I always let people know upfront, even if you're not ready to, you know, let's say walk this journey, I'm here to be a shoulder. I'm here to listen. I'm here to lead. I'm here to guide and everything, because I know how to take it to the Lord. And maybe just you getting it out can help you get your mind clear, because I know about that fuzziness and that cloud. And so please reach out. It's so many different numbers and hotlines out here, but I always tell people, don't be afraid to leave. Be afraid to stay.
Right. That's awesome. Thank you so much. This was so awesome. This was so awesome.
So excited. Thank you so much for responding when I reached out to you. Thank you.
Oh, awesome. I mean, listen, like I said, I've been in domestic violence relationship. I have seen it all my life. And this is something that a lot of women really need to hear, because there are still a lot of women that just want to leave but just don't know how. Yeah. And I think this was very important to do. So thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. So guys, she's from Alabama. Mobile?
Yes, Mobile.
Mobile, Alabama. I'm going to leave all of her information in the description below. So if you need to reach out, please by all means, reach out.
Thank you. And I can't wait to come back on in October. I know we'll have, you know, I have enjoyed this. Thank you.
I did. And like I said, this is my first time. This is my first interview, so I wanted to make sure it was good.
Oh my God, really? I thought you had been doing this. Like, you were amazing.
No. God, no. I just started this podcast in November. I just started the podcast in November.
Really?
Yes. So.
Okay. Well, you're doing amazing. You're doing
Thank
amazing.
you so much, man. Y'all gonna make me cry. But thank you. I really appreciate your time. And she will definitely be back on in October for Domestic Violence Month. Yes. So I will keep your number and keep all your information. And like I said, I will leave all of her information below if you guys need to reach out to her. Thank you, Miss Mona.
Thank you so much.
Not a problem. You have a good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. There you have it, folks. You've heard our story. And I hope that we have said something that resonates with you and your loved ones. If you or someone you know is in a domestic violence situation, and they want a safe way to leave, I will leave Miss Slaughter's information below. She's actually in Alabama, and I'm here in South Carolina. However, I'm pretty sure we can put our heads together and get you the resources you need to leave. Please don't forget to share this podcast. Who knows? Something we said may have helped someone else. Okay, guys, that's it. Remember to do your work, and let's get inspired. Bye, girl. Hey, girl, hey. The Inspire Her podcast listening audience and social media is growing and expanding. If you are a business owner that would like to advertise with us, or if you would like to be interviewed to share your story, please contact us at veronica@theinspireherpodcast.com. Hey girl, hey! This is Veronica Rivers, the Inspire Her podcast. You need to come kick it with me. So go ahead and subscribe on Anchor FM or wherever you listen to your podcasts.